Reece Heller, ranked number 9 this week, has won back-to-back matches, 13-4 on the campaign, taking on Conor Becker, the senior for Duke. So a couple of seniors will go at it here at 184.
Yeah, I don't know if coming into the year, Reece Heller, if you told him at this point in the year, you're going to be the highest ranked guy on the Panther roster, he might have believed you, but he's putting together a really nice season. His older brother Holden we saw before, but Reece is doing a nice job for the Panthers this year.
This is a weight class at 184
nice drag by.
You were very familiar with.
Yeah, all but too familiar with. Not necessarily getting my hand raised, but yeah, a lot of good matches at 184 pounds in my career. Saw a lot of the top level guys for the ACC and nationally, and certainly miss being out there. Wish I could be out there right now.
Tell me about the Dylan Rhino 11th Man Award.
Oh man, so that was it's really touching to me. So I was a guy who wrestled a lot of different weight classes for us, for Duke, I should say. For Coach Lanham and my teammates, my last year, a good friend of mine, Evan Botwin, had approached the coaching staff about coming together for an award to highlight a guy who wasn't one of the usual starters, who tried to embody the way that the program wanted to operate from a student athlete level. So the guys I was on the team with in secret created this award, and Coach Lanham, as a surprise, announced it at the banquet my senior year, and is a really touching tribute and something I'm really proud of.
As you should be, the ultimate team player.
Yeah, and that's, as we talked about before, the importance of every single guy in the room, every coach. You cannot become a champion in this sport just by yourself. You need a partner, you need teammates, and making sacrifices as one of the reserve guys, or making sacrifices for your team is really important, especially at this level.
Saw the 3 points there for Heller. Coach Gavin really praised the fundamentals of Heller and how just sound he is in all facets of his game.
And we saw that there. Yeah, he called him more solid than his brother Holden in terms of maybe the traditional wrestling positions where Holden Heller goes to that funk, as we saw in the match at 165 as Becker gets the escape. But yeah, really praised his commitment to solid fundamentals that get you far in March. Shot from space by Heller. Becker sprawls.
Becker, who at times this year has felt very close to a breakthrough for this Duke team, really thought that maybe it was that win over UT Chattanooga that could be it with the fall, just 119 into the match, but had the tough loss to Virginia last week, 4-2.
And he was in on the leg late, in a position where if you ask Conor Becker, I'm sure he's comfortable in understanding that he thinks he's going to finish there if he gets to that spot. And obviously a tough loss, but I agree, Chris, he's a guy who's been on the precipice, and Coach Lanham has talked about that as a senior. What kind of mark do you want to leave in your last couple months here in the program? And he's certainly been close. He's capable.
It's interesting that you bring up leaving the mark, because it feels like the new coaching staff is trying to walk a delicate balance with so many underclassmen, so many freshmen that are on their roster and in their lineup. What kind of legacy do you want to build versus the upperclassmen? What kind of mark do you want to leave on this program?
Absolutely. It's, with these young groups, it's going to be eventually up to that young group to build the culture of the program as more and more guys come in. And as a senior, on a team like this, you really have to start to think about what influence you can have and what you want to leave behind as those young guys start to build the next chapter of the program. And it is, as a coaching staff, very hard to walk that fine line to commit to that and understand that you need to invest a lot of that time in your young guys as well.
Final minute of the second period.
Close one. Becker's done a nice job closing the space here against Heller, who's tried to get to a lot of shots from space. Nice overtie pass by Heller, whose headgear just broke.
Easy 3 points there for Heller.
Yeah, even with the wardrobe malfunction, and the Pitt bench throws a new headgear right to Drew Headley, who's ready to go. Heller gets to his left leg ride, and this is where he can go to work on top. Both of these Heller brothers are monsters from the top position.
Inside of 30 seconds now.
Becker crawling forward, Heller going single wrist ride. The leg is cleared. Becker's got to crawl further forward, gets to his base. Heller gets his leg back in. Got about 10 seconds left.
Becker just looking for some momentum he can carry into the third period, trying to get back to his base. Unable to do it. Nice job by Heller to thwart the attempt, and he'll take a 6-point lead into the third period.
Really nice finish to the period by Reece Heller. You know, solidifying himself on top, getting to that counter offense with a shuck by and finishing a period on top. That's what you like to see as a coach in the corner to really dictate the tone and what the final 2 minutes are going to look like.
What do you want to see out of Becker here in the final period?
I want to see him chain these moves together on bottom, get right back to his feet, and try and close that space and get to more of his offense. Trust himself. Throw it out there. You're wrestling a guy who's ranked in the top 10 in the country. You have very little to lose here. You know, the duel isn't on the line for you. Looking at team score, this is all about pride here.
The second top 10 wrestler that Becker has faced this year. Actually opened the season against Brian Solando of Rutgers, who was number 10 in the country at the time, and much better showing here for Becker.
Yeah, Soldano is another guy who is impossible to really get a feel of, who is similar to Holden Heller at 65, is just funk and falling to his back and doing odd things. Reece Heller gets another 3, and he has picked up the pace here.
Looking for bonus points now here.
Absolutely, and that's what they're looking for from the corner there, and telling him to get back to his offense. He's really operated from space, not from ties this evening, and looking for counters. Becker gets to an underhook off the reshot. Heller clears it. Goes low single. Becker in the front headlock. With riding time almost locked up, it's effectively 11-3. So we're looking at bonus unless Becker can score a takedown. He gets hit for stalling. Another shuck by go behind for Heller. Puts another 3 on the board.
With 17 seconds to go, and that will pretty much do it here. Heller will pick up another victory for Pitt. It'll be his 66th career win for the redshirt senior from Riverwoods, Illinois, and a commanding win tonight for Heller, who was in control since the word go. And we move on to 197 now, Rhino. And, you know, we talk about the pedigree of this Pitt program. They've got a lot of guys on their roster of former players, including a former national title on staff.
Yeah, Nino Bonacorsi, national champion last year, defeated Tanner Sloan of South Dakota State in the national finals at 197 pounds, 2-time national finalist. A guy who fans really love to watch wrestle in endless motor, endless attacks from space. A guy who just loves wrestling, and they're lucky to keep him around. He's still training to try to make the